So it does. All right, so when you have to have your 45 hours, your first 18 months, you have to have 45 hours of post licensing after you get your license. And like Christine was saying, the advantage of taking the 45 hours as GRI 100 is that if you choose to move forward and do GRI 200 and 300, you get the GRI designation. GRI is Graduate Real Estate Institute, and it's a fantastic networking opportunity. In addition to, it gives you a strong base. So if you are considering doing your broker's license, getting your broker's license and being a broker associate, then you may want to wait and do 200 and 300 after you get your brokers, and you have to wait 2 years before you can get your brokers. Because 200 and 300 suffice for your post licensing for your broker's license.
Oh, wow.
So the nice thing about having the designation, or at least moving towards a designation, is if I do 100, I at least have the opportunity to say I will do 200 and 300 either now or later, and get the GRI designation. So there are additional networking opportunities, there are additional education opportunities, there are additional connections. So it's a nice thing to be able to have and to use, not to just put alphabet soup behind your name, but to be able to say, I took time to educate myself, increase my awareness of my industry, and stay engaged in my industry. So, and not that 45-hour post licensing isn't good, but when you're done with your 45 hours of post licensing, it's like, congratulations, you finished your 45 hours of post licensing. At least with the GRI 100 series, it's congratulations. Now you're interested in moving forward. So.
Plus, you can also take it other places, so you get to meet other people. When you can take it in a lot of different places in Florida. So if you happen to be, if it worked out, you could take it in, I don't know, Sanibel or something like that. It's all over. You can look at FloridaRealtor.org, right?
FloridaRealtors.org.
Yeah.
So, and that'll have the whole education calendar for the entire state.
Cool.
NEFAR has the education calendar for us.
We
so
have
you might want
a
to
lot
check.
of good programs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, NEFAR is really a great.
In fact, I think I'm teaching one this coming month. Okay.
Makes me sad for my Granite State South board.
Oh.
It's like, oh well.
Well, but she's exactly right. That's exactly what I did. Is I did the GR 100 and I did it in Tampa. And
whether
stayed
that
with
class
some
or any of the
friends.
other designations too, I do think that you make out really well. Like when I took my CIPS, I did do it in Jacksonville, but I had people that were in my class, one guy from Costa Rica, somebody else from Brazil, so you had other people that came. So you always have these contacts forever.
Yeah.
I mean, they still come to NAR, so once in a while I'll bump into them when I'm there. But
And SIPS is international. SIPS is your international designation.
CIPS.
CIPS. I'm so not supposed to say SIPS. Okay.
Nope.
Sorry. CIPS. Realtor. Realtor.
Oh gosh,
I know.
that's like such a pet peeve for me.
Yeah. So CIPS. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is there a rationale behind not saying?
That's what we were taught in class.
Okay. So CIPS.
Or maybe my teacher taught it.
No, I'm good with that. CIPS. It's like RE bar.
Yeah, rebar. Yeah.
You're not supposed to say rebar.
I know, but
It's all these little nuances in our industry. Yeah. Craziness. All right, so wanted to spend some time talking about prospecting today. This is really the backbone for our business. This is one of those things that you need to be doing every day. And it doesn't have to be some sort of grand effort. You need to just make it a part of what you do. And so what we want to do is just talk a little bit about the benefits of it, how to construct it, give you some tools to maybe work with in your prospecting, and then talk about ways that you can prospect. Maybe you're not thinking about
Yeah.
different ways that we can actually prospect that we may not remember or take advantage of. So when we talk about prospecting, just really kind of what is it? This is really just the opportunity. I apologize, and take one for round one also. This is really just the opportunity to stay engaged with your business. It's really creating opportunities is what it is. This is, we forget that we're in business. So because we do this all the time when we're out there, sometimes we forget that this is really our business and we have to stay engaged with our business. We have to create new opportunities. Because what's our life cycle? What's a life cycle when you think in real estate? A life cycle for a buyer or seller?
5 years.
Okay.
10, I mean, it used to be 7 years, but I think I think for a lot of people it's less.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know exactly right now.
You guys are moving all the time. I'm just kidding.
Yes, all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's how we like people to be, right?
Out of state, we go
That's
to
the-
different states. Yeah.
Right. All the repeat business and referral business. They come from people who just constantly move. Well, what actually though, you bring up a really good point. What segment of our market that is very relevant and prevalent in this market moves regularly?
I would say younger people as they're moving up.
Okay. What is a huge segment of our market here? Huge industry segment.
Medical, finance. I don't know.
Begins with M. Military.
Oh, military, yeah. I did,
Number-
it's just like I did know that.
Our number one employer in the state of Florida is the government with its military. I mean, we have NAS Jax, we have Mayport. Oh, yeah, look right there. On the Gee whiz. Anyway, so military. So but they do move regularly. A good segment of that
Yeah.
industry does or is required to or has the option to move. Also, Jacksonville is one of the number one destinations for retirement for
Yeah.
military. So that can be an opportunity for prospecting. But prospecting really is trying to find those segments in the market. And if we look at how often people move, it actually increased. It
Oh,
moved
did
to
it?
about 9 to 11 years.
Wow.
I'm going to be intrigued to see how the most recent 2 years have impacted the market with the decrease in inventory and buyers wanting to buy. So yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to bring it down a little bit back into that 7 to 9 year range, or even push it down into 5. But I don't know, because people weren't able to move as much because of the decrease in inventory.
Right.
So it's
The past few
how
years
it's
have been.
how one's going to impact the other. So it was looking at about 9 years. So if you think about that, if you say, okay, well, I've got this base that I just helped buy or sell. So the sellers, hopefully you help them buy if they stayed local, or even were able to refer them to someone else and are staying in touch with them should they come back, right? But
they do.
how can we not only expand our business, but because if we're working on business that happens every even
Yeah.
5 years, there's a whole glut there of time that we could potentially, or we don't have the opportunity to, or we have the opportunity to build business access. So it's really just this opportunity to say, how does this work? What are we doing? What are we creating? And how can we create more opportunities? But that means also not being a silent salesperson. I think realtors are probably the worst at silent salespeople, or a lot of them are. And in part, it's because I think we get a bad rap. So, it's a few that spoil the bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit I have to expand my head to think differently about our business. I usually think very traditionally about our business and what it takes to do well in business in real estate, and I've had to expand my head on that a little bit, only because the number of models that have influxed or influenced our business over the last 5 years, it's really expanded. In some ways, though, I think it's also deteriorated our business. The value and professionalism, I think, is one of those things that we really have to kind of look at how it's impacting our business. But we have to acknowledge and be aware of all the different opportunities that exist with different business models and how they can enhance, influence, or how they impact our business, and then how you want to create your business model to make sure that it works for you. So prospecting is really that element of finding those opportunities that match and mirror your desire, your drive, and your image for your business, your branding for your business. So it comes in a whole bunch of different ways, but what I will say about your prospecting time is it really has to be planned, and it really has to be something you put onto your calendar. Just like if you're dedicated to your workouts, which there was a time when I was. Anyway, that, I taught aerobics for 17 years, and I taught 3 to 5 classes a week.
Oh my Lord! Wow.
And then when we closed the center and I retired, I was like, well, I'm not going to work out anymore. I don't know how that happened, but anyway. So it's one of those things you have to do for planning and development. So when you're talking about prospecting, you really need to set your dedicated time to it. You need to be identifying when, where, what, and how, and why. You need to put it on your calendar. If it gets, the other reason you need to put it on your calendar is when someone calls you and wants to see a property, I know that in this market we want to jump up and go. But if it's on your calendar, at least hopefully you will reschedule that, just like you would any appointment, whether it's a 2-hour block or a 4-hour block. You should be rescheduling that appointment. And the thing about prospecting time is it's not just making the phone calls. I mean, what else can we do during prospecting time?
Meet up with people, have coffee.
Coffee, lunch. I mean, what other business can you prospect
You can-
and go out to
you can
lunch
have
and
fun.
eat all day long?
You
Right.
can have a lot of fun.
Right. Going to events, taking people to events. You can use that potentially as marketing dollars. Going to different organizations, getting additional designations. So your prospecting time can include education. Your prospecting time can include making those phone calls. It can include touching base. Maybe your prospecting time is just in the morning. Your prospecting time for 45 minutes is updating yourself on the market. What's new on the market, what's happening in the market, what kind of inventory has changed, what new inventory is coming on the market. So it's a dynamic place to really kind of create your own environment. The prospecting time doesn't have to be arduous, and it doesn't have to be, and if it is, then we have a problem. We have to recalculate how your marketing time is. I know one agent, we're doing a little coaching right now, and she wasn't getting her tasks done. So I challenged her to come into the office for a 4-hour time block once a week. And she's doing it, and she's actually getting her tasks done. She's not as happy about doing it, but she's finding she's getting her tasks done, so it's now not become some sort of terrible thing. It's something that she actually is actually enjoying and looking forward to doing, where she feels like, okay, if I do that, then I have this whole group of stuff that I can set aside that I've now completed. It's like that eating an elephant, how do you do it one bite at a time, same with anything, just one bite at a time, one step at a time. How do we learn to walk? One step at a time. It really is for relationship building. So that's really kind of cool, because if I'm spending prospecting time building relationships, I'm spending prospecting time trying to develop an opportunity to get in front of someone, trying to become their referral person so that I'm the one they refer, which is really dynamic. Because remember, know me, like me, trust me as a realtor. It's that trust me as a realtor that sometimes gets lost. So we don't have an opportunity, or we forget to make the opportunities to share with someone what we know about our industry and what about the business. I mean, we had an agent call this morning that Christine and I were talking to just about what the market is doing. I mean, today we have about 3,400 listings.
Yay. It's
Which,
better.
if you look 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago even, we were at 2,200.
Yeah, it was way lower.
And actually on a Monday, Tuesday, we were down at 1,800 and 1,900. Why? Increase in inventory Thursday, Friday, decrease in inventory
Over
Monday,
the
Tuesday,
weekend.
increase Thursday, Friday. So it becomes one of those things that to see that change now gives you something else you can talk about. What can you do with that? You can post it on Facebook and boost it. You can post it on Instagram. You can post it. You can tweet out something about the change in the market. What's also happening with the interest rates? They shot up, they pop back down, right? But obviously they'll probably go back up. But what's that? What's the power of that? What's the purchasing power? Translate that into something that a consumer is going to be able to relate to. So talking to them about that and saying, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, I have to kind of look at it differently, is social media is a huge element of what we do now.
It is.
So challenge, if you're not very social media oriented. Positive, very cost effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much less expensive than
Than anything
print,
else.
TV and radio, right? The old traditionals. Not to say that those don't have still some weight and validity, but being able to be active in social media becomes really an important element of it. But you also have to stay relevant in social media, which is the other challenge. Be using the tools or using the avenues that your customer base or potential customer base is connecting with. Expanding your referral base. See, prospecting can also be reaching out to other realtors. You do a great job of that.
I
making
just
sure
got
that-
a referral last week for people from Utah that are moving here, from someone I was in Leadership Academy with for Women's Council, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe
Really?
even longer. Yeah, so you never know where it might come from.
You don't, and that's the other thing.
I mean, I
is-
keep in touch with her, but still,
Right.
it's good.
And I think that's something that we do very poorly. We don't do a good job of staying in touch with other realtors. Some you don't want to stay in touch with, others you probably do, especially people outside of your market that can help refer in and out, or give you those lines of connection in and out of your market. Some realtors maybe had a bad experience within a transaction, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you have to work with everyone, but staying in touch with even realtors locally, she's fantastic at staying in touch with realtors locally, finding out about listings before they ever come up.
That's a good thing, really, right now especially.
Right, which reminds me.
I've
Hey,
not been
Patty.
good at that, but I've,
Do you think you have anybody interested in St. John's Landing on the water?
St. John's Landing. Where is St. John's Landing?
It's kind of north, Arlington, along the river.
Oh, on the river?
Yeah,
Yeah. How much?
probably 1.3, 1.4.
What is it like right on the basin, or is it like where is it?
It's right on the St. John's large opening, St. John's River, across from the stadium, or across from.
Duh.
Okay, so what's this, I mean, is it Clifton?
No, up and over to the right. I'll show
Yeah, I
you.
do. But
Okay.
Is it?
Let me see what I
does
can
it need
get.
a lot of work, or
No,
who's this? Who's this?
It's a vet who's sold his.
But is your listing?
No,
Whose listing is this?
nobody's yet.
Oh, yeah, but whose listing is gonna be?
It might be yours if you talk to them, or just
Oh, I
Connect with
have a buyer for that.
okay. See, there we go.
never know.
Yeah, how big?
I don't remember. I'll look it up. I think it's 3,000 or 3,200.
Yeah, I mean, is he a little bit negotiable?
Probably if you go to him first.
Yeah, because I do have one. Like, yeah, when can I show it?
She wants to buy my mother-in-law's house too. Anyway, if we can just get her out of it. Anyway, she'll eat them all up. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'll talk to her. I'll talk to their daughter.
Well,
Oh.
I'm gonna. How do you mix this thing?
So you can expand your referral base. So referring doesn't have to just be within real estate.
How do you?
So you can talk to other people about the importance of referring business. Maybe this is where you reach out, maybe you start to develop a company connection. We kind of touched on it a couple of times, but if you know of someone in a small or medium-sized company, maybe there are 20 to 100 people in the company, and you know someone who's the CEO or CFO or a human resources person, talk to them about becoming the preferred realtor for them. We could help you create a
That's
program for all of their employees. And obviously being respectful of any employee that has a friend or family member who's already a realtor, but out of 100, I would imagine there's some that aren't connected to someone.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
if you go in a couple of times, maybe every quarter, and offer to do a buyer seminar or a seller seminar and connect with one of our preferred lenders and bring them in and help them, there's no reason that you can't create a program. Maybe you create a website, or maybe they allow you to put your logo and picture and our branding on their website where you become their preferred realtor. Doesn't cost the company anything. It's an additional service that the company provides, and maybe what you do is figure out how you want to make it a benefit to the individual in the company. So maybe you donate $500 to a charity of their choosing. Maybe they get $1,000, between 200 and 500, they get $1,000 credit at closing from you. Maybe 500 to $1 million, they get $2,000 or $2,500 credit. I mean, when you look at the numbers, it's a good investment. And if you do it as a credit at closing, then of course you don't get the tax hit on that. But there are ways to make it work for you. Maybe it's just something as simple as, if they use you to list their house, you provide the home warranty to the buyer and the seller coverage. So what's that? $600 for a home warranty and another $70 for the seller coverage during the listing
Yeah.
period. So $700, rounded up, $700 investment for a $300,000 listing that you list at, we hope 3%, but maybe 2.75, and so 3% on what? What did I say? $515,000. You made a $1,000 investment on a potential $15,000 return.
That's worth it.
You know, not so bad, right? So let's get creative and think about ways to draw out these connections. So prospecting time is building that referral base or expanding that referral base. And again, it's not just realtor related. It can be how you grow your business related, how you develop your business related. Market research, prospecting time can be that market research. Pulling your, just as simple as every morning you allow 30 minutes for prospecting, and you pull the market summary for residential in Jacksonville, and maybe the market summary for three of your primary market areas. And the market summary will give you the months, month over month and year over year. Statistics. Maybe it's your hot sheet. Maybe your 30 minutes is pulling the market summary and reviewing your hot sheet for whatever the hot sheet you've set up. And the hot sheet gives you new listings, under contract listings, withdrawn listings, expired listings, price reductions, gives you all that information in one place. So there's lots of things you can do for market research. Again, why? Well, that leads to something else. It leads to that opportunity to talk to someone at lunch and help them see that you understand what the market's doing. Maybe your 30 minutes or 45 minutes in the morning is pulling up Inman News and Riz Media and just scanning the topics for the day and picking one or two articles that you like. What can you do with that? Well, maybe you're prospecting from 12 to 1 is to post 3 things, or post one thing and send it to 3 different platforms. So you can really get mileage out of spending 30 minutes doing one thing or 2 things. It's just putting it on your calendar.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not I don't think market research for 30 to 45 minutes every morning is a bad thing.
No.
But I'm a geek, so what do I know? So, but just staying in touch with the market at least a few times a week is really important to see kind of what's happening or be aware of what's happening. Is it time to do customer research? Customer research can be just understanding more what consumers are going through. Customer research could be your past customers. Maybe at the beginning of the month you look and see we're coming into June, so last year or in June, what closings have you had, and sending them a card for the anniversary. Well, past June's. There might not be one scheduled yet for June.
Oh, I did last year.
See? That's great. So those June customers, it might be the anniversary of sending them a note card or a note saying, hey, you've been in your home a year, or it's been a year since you left, just want to let you know we're thinking of you. Or what I'd like to see us doing more often is doing market updates on an annual basis.
I think that's a great idea.
CMA. At the beginning of every month, do a quick CMA for everybody that closed last year or 2 years ago, and say, just wanted to give you an update on the value of your home. So, maybe wondering if we should create some sort of, afternoon or evening get together where everybody focuses on that. Maybe once a month do it. We focus on. You have to come in, and we'll provide pizza or something, and everybody does at least 2 or 3 market analyses for past customers or on a customer that they're interested in going after. Because sometimes when you have people together, you may be looking at your CMA, or you may be looking at this quick market analysis you've done, and you're thinking, this seems wonky. When there's that environment where we can talk a little bit and get feedback from each other, sometimes it helps build our confidence and also build an opportunity to say, oh gosh, you're right, I shouldn't have included that one, let me include this one. But it's a great, second set of eyes never hurts, right?
That's true.
Open discussion and a beverage of choice never hurts. Anyway, prospecting time can be education and training. Education for yourself, training for yourself. Remember, you've got your continuing education that you have to manage, but please don't just work on your continuing education. There is so much out there. Our board offers so many classes, and the majority of them are free to its members.
It's true.
I think Christine's idea of going to another location and taking a course is a great idea. when you go to another board, they'll usually charge you, but, I mean, come on.
You'll still meet
$50.
them here in Jacksonville because we're known for our education. So there are people that come from other parts of definitely Florida.
Right,
So
yeah, which is great. I mean, it's nice to have that reputation, but we forget to take advantage of it because we forget to put education and training onto our prospecting or onto our calendar or make it relevant.
oh no,
Right. No, I mean, I've been trying to finish my C2EX.
I have to
for-
redo it already
Oh.
next month. in June.
C2EX is the national, is the NAR designation.
It's 2 years, every 2 years.
Oh, I thought it was 3, okay.
Oh,
Oh.
either that or I have another year to go. I thought it was this June.
No, it's all good.
I
Always
could be
learning.
wrong.
No.
148, 68.
That's a
So-
great program.
Yeah. And I can't remember what
I really-
C2EX stands for, except C2EX.
Commitment to excellence.
Commitment to excellence, there you go. CIPS. No.
6, yeah.
So, but what's cool is that you can also, I mean, you can find if there's other avenues that you might be interested. Like you think, well, maybe I'd like to learn more about green building. So you go for the green designation. Does that mean you have to use the green designation?
No,
No, but
'cause I don't
think of all the
use it.
things right.
I have it, but I
Yeah,
don't
but-
use it.
Oh, but around here,
Occasionally
there's only
it
about
has
2
happened.
builders that focus on green buildings, so you're very limited. If you're not building in Springfield, or if you're not working in Springfield with Terrawise or one other one,
I can't
you're,
remember who it was here.
I mean, that may not be relevant to you, but think of all the things that you learn. I mean, or the technology designation,
Well,
what is
yeah, I can't remember what that.
that? ePro or, not ePro, something
Well, ePro is the original technology one, but there's a new one that is
for
more
home technology.
for home technology.
Yeah.
I can't think of what the name of it is. I don't have that one yet, obviously.
Yeah, where
Otherwise,
the homes are wired for sound.
because some of them you walk in and you're like, what is that, and how do I operate it?
How do I
So
tell
I
my
think it would be a
customers?
good thing to have.
Yeah, I agree. So, anyway, education and training, all different things that we want to take a look at. Your sources for prospecting, I don't think this will come as any surprise. Your centers of influence are probably your primary
Yeah.
source of prospecting. And remember, your centers of influence are constantly expanding. So they may be your friends and family when you first start, but then the business that you do adds on that concentric circle to your centers of influence, current and past customers. Then you start to investigate not only friends and family, but maybe you start to investigate other interests. So that psychographic element that we kind of talk about sometimes. Or am I going to do something like geography? Or am I going to do something like, so your concentric circles are constantly expanding. They can retract a little bit. That's when you evaluate and determine whether the work that you've put in makes sense. Is the investment of time, energy, and money making sense for my return? If it's not, do I have to have a better focus? Or do I have to retract and spend those energies in something that's giving me a little bit more business? But that's why we're constantly looking at our business, and on our business planning, that back section really reminds us of all the things that we need to look at, not just for seasonality, not just for cost per hour, but where is our business coming from? How do we categorize the business that we're getting? When do we want to make a shift in our business plan? What marketing are we using? How do we manage that marketing? So it becomes a real push and pull, but your centers of influence can broaden and contract a little bit. Again, geographic targeting and farming, this is one of those things that my traditional sense says, still should be viable, but my more modern sense, is just that we're so fluid in what we do that the boundaries of county and the boundaries of neighborhood have constantly changed or constantly changing. Plus, can we survive, if you will, on what's being provided within that geographic definition? So, if it's only two transactions or 2 properties that turn a year, is that going to be enough for what we want to do, for whatever our plan is for the return that we're going to have from our business? So prospecting becomes geographic and farming. It might be because of where we live. We want it to be a primary element, but it could also be where we've lived too. We get an agent who was raised in a particular area, neighborhood, grew up a little outside of it, but now she and her family have moved back into it. So this is giving her kind of a duplex on, a bookended connection within that community. There's still some of the people that she knew when she lived there, so that sets her up with a strong base. Plus, there are new people that she can connect with based on her age and family status that make it a connecting element. So she could really do well within that geography. And a lot of the people who were very strong real estate professionals in that market have are backing out of the business a little bit, have been moving away from the business. So it gives her a really good opportunity to also take over some market share. So strategically, she has to look at how she wants to manage that. So it may make sense. Psychographic targeting, like I said, I'm a big proponent of that. Finding the people that you connect with.
Yeah.
Why? There's no reason not to do stuff with people that you enjoy doing stuff with, and do stuff you enjoy doing. Makes it much easier, and it makes it much more natural.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want me, if I feel like I have to go after runners, we're not going to connect. We're just not going to connect.
Yeah.
It's a whole different high, it's a whole different desire, it's a whole different drive. I don't have it. I just don't have it. Don't ask me to run a marathon, it's not going to happen. I love open houses because, in all honesty, you really can't screw up an open house. I mean, if you want a dynamic place to practice, open houses are a great place. Why? You sit in one place and people come to you. So you have a chance to practice your knowledge of the industry, you have a chance to practice a little bit more about understanding what's happening in our market. You have a chance to get your feel and your feet under you for getting that comfort zone to start talking to someone. It's pushing a lot of people out of their comfort zone to start talking to someone when they come into a property. But open houses are a great place to practice. And if you aren't listing a lot of houses right now,
Yeah.
open houses are a great place to practice your strategies when it comes to listing, performing a CMA. If you're doing an open house for someone, you should do a CMA. Why? Well, you want to see how close they are to where the market pricing is, and if they're way up, you want to know, maybe you have some questions you want to ask the listing person. If they're down or if they're below what you think would be market value, you want to understand why. I mean, it's a great place just to kind
It's a
of
good
learn.
learning, yeah.
Let's say it is lower and you have a customer walk in and say, what do you think of the price? Would you be honest and tell them there is another house that sold at much less? Or would you just...
Well, if you think that the house that you're sitting open is priced under market value, I would probably not address the other houses. I would probably address that house. I would probably say, well, we believe this house is priced competitively for the market and could be a great investment for someone wanting to move into the market and potentially have equity by moving in.
But if it was the opposite?
If the house was overpriced compared to what
Right.
comps are, again, in this market, I think you can say we've aggressively priced the house
Okay.
in hopes that, you know, the market would address the pricing that we currently have positioned. So I think you take it back to the statistics. So if they come in and say, oh, that house down the road sold for $40,000 less and it's the same floor plan, you can, but you have to know. So, I mean, that's why when we talk about doing open houses, we talk about really being prepared, like
Yeah.
a week in advance, week and a half in advance, go see any competitive properties that are available to see what they look like. Oh yes, that house did, you know, is under contract. We don't know what it's closed at. It listed $40,000 more, but in this market, we've been seeing things sell at about 102% of the listing price. So while it listed $40,000, we don't believe that the closing price will be that different from where we're currently priced. So we've priced in anticipation of the market. And if they keep arguing with you, I think that's great. Would you be interested in making an offer at whatever you feel comfortable with? I'd be happy to present it for you. So, I mean, don't get defensive. Don't put them off. Use statistics that you're aware of.
Well, actually, statistics are really good too, because if there are people that are thinking about selling that go to open houses too. So you have the opportunity to try and schmooze them basically into potentially listing with you. If they think you know your stuff, you could get a listing that way.
Very true.
Absolutely. So it's a great place for buyers and it's a great place for potential listings too.
Yeah.
So it's just being prepared. You know, just knowing the market. It doesn't take a lot. It takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
You should try and see any competitive properties that you can. You should try and know exactly what's gone under contract. You should know a little about the history and you should know about the competition. So just being prepared. Acknowledging their position is probably good, and not tearing them down.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, did you get that on Zillow? They're always right.
Can't say that anymore.
Well, Zillow did redo their algorithms. They're a little closer.
I haven't looked at it lately.
They're a little closer, but I mean, even down at the bottom in the fine print, they say that these estimates are probably off anywhere from 10 to 20%, high or low. So, I mean, that's why when you do your CMAs, you've got to look at Realtor.com.
Oh, you should look at them all.
Zillow,
Yeah.
yeah. Look at your estimates that come from RPR
Yeah.
as a standard resource, that's developed by NAR that does combine
Yeah, it's
statistics from a variety of different
I'll be back.
analyses. All
Keep me
right, see
posted
ya.
with that. I'll be back in an hour.
Okay.
Bye, Erica.
Expired listings are another great place. We haven't seen as many expired listings, but I gotta be honest with you, we're seeing a few more.
I just was looking at MLS last week. I took a class a few weeks ago, so I've been looking at MLS, and I have noticed more expireds, and people aren't picking them up. So there might be some opportunity there. I don't know. Might be worth taking a look.
What I will tell you with expired listings is, so an expired listing is someone who had their house listed, didn't sell, the contract with the brokerage expired, and either the brokerage decided not to relist it, the seller decided not to relist it, or they're both taking a break. So with expired listings, what we find is that you need to have somewhere between a 5 to 7 touch program with expired listings. You need to stay consistent with that program also. And here's the reason, is most realtors with expired listings will reach out once
Yeah.
and then not again. So they take this shotgun approach and they send out 17 letters to the 17 most recent expireds, rather than take a day before they just send the letter out and look at the expired. Look, what's the condition of the home? What was the pricing of the home? Does it make sense? How open is this going to be? And especially if they see a realtor they know or a realtor from their own company, they forget to call and say, hey, are you relisting this? Just out of respect.
Yeah.
Or, is there a reason you're not relisting this? Because maybe you don't want it either.
Right.
It's true.
But, so, take the 24 hours, an expired listing, take the 24 hours, one, to see if it comes back on the market with the same
Yeah.
realtor, but also take the time to understand or to find your positioning on that listing rather than a shotgun approach. Take a more quality over quantity approach. Is it a listing you truly, really want? And does it make sense to stay in touch with these people or to reach out to these people? Because you should have really a 5 to 7 touch program. And we're not talking, intense. We're talking going by and saying the first point of contact should always be face to face. So going by the expired listing, knocking on the door and saying, hey, I'm a realtor, I get it, you hate us all right now. But are you going to be relisting? Would you like to see another perspective on how a person lists a property? And they may say, we are relisting and we're going to use the same person. We just felt like we were testing the market. Totally get it. You had a good realtor. I hope to bring a buyer to you.
Yeah. That's,
And then your plan ends. But maybe. So then it's sending face to face, then sending a letter, then having an appointment. So you can see that pretty easily you can get up to 5 to 7
Yeah.
touches without a lot of expense, time, and energy. Right? It's fairly easy to write a note, or it's fairly easy to stop by a house. So expired listing. Some people like to start an expired listing with a letter, but if you start with a letter, please make sure you follow up with that letter. So your second touch should then be, if you don't want to do first touch face to face because it's expired, start with a letter, and then in the letter tell them, I'll be stopping by in the next few days just to check in with you. And maybe in the letter, a lot of people like the letter because they can say or summarize what their approach to listings is, and possibly always using professional photos, ensuring strong connection with consumers through MLS manipulation, or manipulation is probably not a good word,
probably
but
not.
just meaning that you're going to move photos around and
Yeah.
make it look the best possible. But there are a lot of things you can do with expired listings. Another really good practice place, because it's expired listing. If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's not like It's not like.
But you already know that they did want to sell at one time, so it's kind of part of the job is done.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, so there, you know that there was motivation, although we have to discount the motivation
Yeah.
for the people who just want to make new friends, and we do have to discount the motivation for those who are just testing the market. You know, can I get the big money that I really want to get? So, anyway, and that's going to go the same thing for for sale by owners. For sale by owners really usually need a 7 to 9 touch
Yeah.
program. You need a couple of extra connections, and please, even if let's say you have a 9 touch program for a for sale by owner, and you feel like you're just not getting anywhere on step 6, finish it out. Finish it out. Unless they tell you, please do not contact
Yeah.
me anymore. Respect that. I would still follow up with a note that says, I hear you. In the future, if you have a need, please don't hesitate to call or refer me out. But plan on finishing your program unless you get, the timeout from the customer. But you have to see your program through, because the majority of realtors, expired listings, majority of realtors will stop at 1. For sale by owners, majority of realtors stop after 2. So even by going to 3 or 4 steps, you've already outpaced the other realtors in the mix. You've already demonstrated your ability to live out some of the other realtors. So have you done a lot of for sale by owners? Or?
Not recently,
No.
but
Well,
I
that's
did
true.
when I was over in Clay County. I did more of it, and I did have like a step program that I used.
I used to use one of those expandable things, the expandable folders, and I do each one step by step 1, step 2. So I had 3 or 4 pieces already ready to go, and then on the front there was a little slip-in card, and I would write the address of the properties and then the steps that they were on.
Yeah,
I'm sure it can
I
be
know
done
some
electronically
agents.
much better.
One of the agents that I work with, she's a very, very successful realtor. That's how she made her business. Was working with for sale by owners and expireds. That's it. That's all she did.
Sherry?
No, Rhiannon Myers.
Oh, Rhiannon, sure.
She's amazing.
She's fantastic.
And she's been amazing since day one.
Yeah, she's up into 12 or 15 million, I think.
Yeah,
right
she sure is.
now. Potentially more, I don't know.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was so good at for sale by owners. She was like, we shared a brain. Did you know Sherry Faircloth at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was
So-
she at Blanding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sherry and I shared a brain. We're like the opposite. I mean, we're like male, female of each other. Anyway, and we partnered a lot. We were both in management at one time, and we partnered a lot just because we didn't want to compete. So we would just partner and share everything. But I would call Sherry and say, oh my gosh, I think we've got this listing coming up. She goes, oh my gosh, I have no listings. I can't believe this. I never have no listings. And we talked 3 days, and she goes, oh, I've got 4 listings. How did you just get 4 listings? She goes, oh, just for sale by owners. And I never wanted to be in her office as a new agent. She would take new agents, and they would go in a car, and she would come up onto a for sale by owner, and she would stop, and she'd push them out and drive off, and make them go to the door. I'm like, ooh, Sherry, that's bad.
Jeff knew. Yeah, we never had to do that. We did have to look at every listing on the market, though.
Yeah.
We looked at 100 listings.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there were a lot of listings back
Right.
then in 2006.
Yeah.
We had to look at 100 listings. There was a whole team of us. We had to plan it.
Go
And
out and see 'em.
But it really helps you get a better idea of pricing and stuff like that you don't realize when you're just looking at MLS.
Yeah, because MLS is one-dimensional. When you
Right.
get in, I mean, you've probably experienced. You get into it and you think, "Wow, this backyard looks so much bigger than it does right now." But yeah, so there's the going out and seeing the inventory. I mean, that can be your prospecting time, seeing the inventory in an area so that you understand what the market is showing you. And then there's going out and looking at the for sale by owners too. We haven't had a ton of for sale by. One would think in this market.
I saw one on the way to church the other day,
Really?
but I didn't have time to stop.
Sure.
And I was like, I got to put together a plan so at least I'm ready for it when I do see them. Because I'm surprised when I see them now. People think that they can just sell it themselves, but generally get less money, so
Right.
it doesn't really make sense to me.
Right. So even just sharing that with a for sale by owner, you're probably going to go into contract 3 times before you get one to stick, because you're not doing this every day. The other part is we find that for sale by owners get anywhere from 12 to 17%
Yeah,
less
it's a high percentage.
than when they work with a realtor. So even if they pay 6% when they
They're
work
still
with a
gonna
realtor,
make more money.
they're still making
Bottom
money.
line is more money.
Yeah. So, I mean, good opportunities to talk to it. It's whether they believe you and it's whether or not you can prove it too. So, but your steps might be able to do that. Maybe one of your steps is sharing with them information from the NAR buyer seller survey related to for sale by owners, and then following it up with a discussion. So, I mean, there's lots of things that can be done. And all the steps, whether it's 5 to 7 or 7 to 9 steps,
Yeah.
they're customizable to your personality, to your brand. So it's important to stay connected with them and kind of get a feel for what you're looking at when it comes to for sale by owners and expired. Great sources for prospecting. And I will say, with open houses, expired, and for sale by owner, how badly can you screw up? I mean, one, open houses, if they don't work with you, they'll work, at least you get a chance to practice. Expired listings, well, they wanted to sell it one time. If they don't want to now, that's okay too. And for sale by owners, they're not currently listed with you, and so if they don't, they don't.
You have a shot at it at least.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
already know they wanna sell,
Right.
or trying to sell.
Or think they might want to sell.
Yeah. Think they're gonna get 500 for a $200,000 house.
Right. Yeah.
There isn't a 200,000.
Seen a lot of that now. All right. So ways to prospect, you guys. Anything that you do is prospecting. It's just what's the more traditional stuff versus the more modern stuff, and that's where we have to kind of find a place to meld. Each of our personalities are going to be different. Each of the ways that we connect are going to be different. Door knocking.
I've done that.
Okay, what did you think?
I used to do it with Rhiannon.
Oh, did you?
when she was just starting out, and we used to door knock. And the very first, it's funny because the very first one we went to was in Orange Park, and we knocked on the door because we wanted to go on a team because it was just safer. It made sense. And this guy opened the door and said, "Do not bother me," and started yelling at us. And we both walked out. We just left, and we both turned the corner and just burst out laughing like, "That's the one. Everybody else is going to be great."
And
So we did have a lot of fun doing it.
And that's the thing. If you turn it, we're going to get a lot of no's in our business as it is.
Yeah,
So if you say, well, that was the one.
that was the one.
I mean, it can't get worse than that, right?
Yeah.
And you move forward, then it's not so bad. Door knocking, more traditional. Please be aware, safety,
Neighborhoods,
safety,
yeah.
safety. That's the most important thing of any of your prospecting that you do. Safety, safety, safety. I love.
And
the
that's
two
why
of
we
them
went with
together.
it. We went together, and we would have just split it.
Right.
We were a team in the very beginning for a short
It's
time.
fantastic. Smart. Maybe not as relevant as it used to be these days because
Yeah.
more and more subdivisions are
They say no.
say no, and you have to be careful and safety first.
Yeah.
So mailing out, I got to be honest with you. People are tired of getting bills in the mail, so sometimes when they get something else, it's not such a bad
A
thing.
personal note's good
I love personal notes, yeah.
because you're like, yes, I have a personal note.
And it's not asking
It's
me for
not a
money.
bill.
The cards, the pre-printed cards, the only thing I'll say is if you do, please use something unusual in size. If you're doing cards, like it just listed, it just sold, or market awareness, or a newsletter, just make it so that it's attractive, professional. I think very important to be professional. I get it that it's an expense to have someone design it, to have someone print it, to have someone mail it out. But if you're going to be consistent with your newsletter, I think they can be a really great way to establish your brand, and they can be a really strong way to establish your knowledge base. Make sure that your name is there. Make sure that your title is there as a realtor. Make sure that your brokerage is there.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the guidelines related to advertising and marketing. It's where we get the most complaints from consumers as well as other realtors is in advertising and marketing. Please remember, you cannot use anything in front of realtor.
Right.
So no descriptors or adjectives in front of realtor other
It
than
has
your
to be
name.
like Florida Realtor, like FL Realtor. No.
Nothing in front of realtor other than your name. No One Realtor, no Your Market Realtor, no St. John's Landing Realtor, nothing like that. Your name and Realtor, that's it.
Yeah.
It's trademarked. And I actually have a call into the legal hotline because I'm concerned about hashtags. I don't know. I believe the rule follows for hashtags, but I see a lot of people putting hashtag something realtor.
I've done that
believe
myself, too.
The rule does apply to hashtags.
I forget,
Let's find
I'll
out.
have to look, I know, they have some videos online, cause I know we used to push them for up north.
Sure.
And it's been a while since but I just did that recently, so.
We just have to be careful. You know,
I
respectful.
try though, I don't
Yeah.
like people when I'll report someone if they're
Right.
not,
And I don't think that's a bad thing.
no,
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that
cause
if we
the
don't
bad
hold,
people need to go.
right, if we don't hold others to standards,
I don't mean
I
that.
think we're doing a disservice to our business. So when you see something on MLS, report. Doesn't show your name. When you see something that you have a question about, that whole Chad and Sandy.
Oh, I just saw they had an open house down near me this weekend, like, oh my gosh, there it is again.
Yeah, so it's this couple, and I had sent it to Glenn because it's this couple and it says chadandsandy.com, something about,
Is that the name of their company?
well, they're doing business as chadandsandy.com. But still, that doesn't release them from the liability or to the responsibility to say that they're a realtor. Just, I mean, if that is their company name, then
Yeah,
they at least have
I
to
was
say they're
confused
a
by the
realtor.
sign
They
that
don't say that they're a realtor on their sign. You have to say that you're a realtor or a licensed real estate professional. So I don't know. Anyway,
I just saw the billboard at the airport, but I knew you already had talked about it, so,
yeah, things like that bother me.
me too. You should see, Joe's
That's where
dropping
my
me off, I'm like,
traditions-
look at that!
I'm sure. That's where the traditional side of me, you know, look, we work so hard. We're such a strong organization in the U.S., in our state.
And
in
I'm
our
not
area.
knocking them, I just think that they should do it properly,
I'm
that's all.
not questioning their business model. I'm just saying, if you,
Yeah.
whatever your business model is, abide by the advertising rules.
And I don't know them, so.
I don't either. Don't know anything about it. So I shouldn't say, can't say much, but
No,
right, wrong, or indifferent. Anyway, traditional versus modern. The thing is that unfortunately, you know, our average age is about 52. Came down a little bit, yay. But by the same token, we have to, as realtors, we have to stay in touch with how consumers are gaining the information. We have to acknowledge, even if we don't like technology, we need to get someone to help us. And be prepared to pay for it. For some reason, why are realtors so gosh darn cheap? You say, oh, it's going to cost $40 a month. What? You know,
that's not a
But-
lot of money.
I get that $40 times 10 is 400 plus another 80, so $480 a year. But
If you get one deal out of it, it's worth it.
right, or even if you add up and say I'm spending $4,000 a year
Yeah.
on advertising, and one deal eats that up, or one
Yeah.
deal pays you back, it's not that deal wasn't worth it because you're going to get additional business from that deal. So we have to be less focused on it's ninja selling that talks about focus on not the focus on abundance, not scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on abundance, not scarcity. You'd be surprised how much it comes. Anyway, but we have to be in tune with what the market's doing, and we have to look at things like LinkedIn. There is no reason that other professionals shouldn't see that you have the opportunity
Yeah.
to build your business. There's no reason that shouldn't be something that other professionals know and can connect with you on. You'd be surprised how many people either don't want to work with a realtor that they know for whatever reason, or are looking for a realtor in a specific area, or just want to see who else is out there. This is why your bio becomes so important. This is why having a connection becomes so important. It's a piece to what you do. So we have to think less traditionally, and we have to think about combining different ways that we're comfortable. Maybe it was that old door knocking, but maybe we get, we don't door knock, we go around, we get the addresses, and we send a very professional, well-designed letter.
But yeah, I think doing a combination of of those, both traditional and modern, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and we have to just find what works for us.
Yeah,
You have to.
it depends on what your market is, but. I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
Because for me, a lot of the people I deal with are around my age, give or take 10 or 20 years. So they might not
Please,
be
you were
on
just talking
Twitter.
about being a cougar earlier.
No,
At the colleges.
I
what was
wasn't
that?
trying to pick up people at the college, honestly.
Oh, it was a graduation. Never mind.
And my dad was staying at the hotel with me, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right, keeping you in
Uh,
mind. I'm kidding.
Yes, I'm such a wild person in my mind.
So what were you saying? What's working for you, or what do you like?
I like a mix, although I have not done really anything traditionally lately.
Okay.
And I was really against a lot of the technology stuff, but I'm just getting back into it. So I
Okay.
think that's actually what's most cost effective. But then again, there are some things that I've thought about, like for my own personal neighborhood, because there's 200 houses, and probably every year there's 5 to 7 that sell. So I'm thinking
I'm
maybe
impressed
that.
you know that. So.
Well, I've looked it up. I'm
Still
studying
impressed.
the market.
Still
So I was thinking, well, maybe I should just introduce myself. That I wouldn't say it like we have a local website. I wouldn't say it on that because that's not what it's for. But I would just send out my information, saying a little bit of blurb about me. I don't know yet, but I was looking at stuff too.
So what's great is that you know the number of homes, you know the turnover rate, and you have you're trying to identify the right venue. I would say, because of something you said earlier about being excited about personal notes, I get it, but if you took and did 10 3 times a week, that's 30. It would only take you about 6 weeks to get all.
Just an intro. Well, I think that's what I originally did when I first started working here. Was we sent out a note card with
Sure.
the, your business
Yeah.
card and.
And that's possible too. You're taking a mass-produced item, but you're making it more personal in your own neighborhood. I think that could be a great way to do it. Plus, I think that one of the things that we don't do enough is we don't take the things that people say about us, because we're like, oh, I don't want to brag.
Yeah.
But we forget to take our reviews and share them with everybody. Excuse me. And there's lots of ways we can do that. So you get a review from a buyer that says how much they enjoyed working with you. There's no reason you can't post that into LinkedIn or post it into Twitter
Anywhere,
or
yeah.
Instagram and say, I just wanted to welcome the Smiths to their new community and thank them for such kind words.
Yeah.
You
You don't have to put anything
don't have
more
to-
than that.
Right. Right. So, and you guys have done a great job already. I mean, the first day on board, they did a whole video that they sent out to their. Where did you post it? You posted that on
It
Facebook.
was on Facebook, actually.
Yeah. So, and now you're developing your Facebook page, which is great.
Mhm.
You've already received some traction from
That's great.
people, which is fantastic. So, do you feel comfortable technology-wise, or?
I do. Just more so about branding and, like I was checking out some of the other Legends Facebook pages, just scrolling through, and I love how like the back cover page photo, I didn't have anything made up yet, but they had like very nice looking home shots, and I don't know how you would go about doing that, so that's my
Canva.
later. Canva?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I
I've
did
heard of
mine.
that.
Was I took photos in Canva, so that everything was legal because I'm a pro. So and it's very inexpensive. So I took the photos and made like different things around the city, and then I just added the logo, and that's what I did for mine.
Yeah.
So it's very you could easily do it.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Canva?
I've heard of it once because I was looking
But
at
it's
how to
ve-
make a profile business Facebook page, and that's what they recommended was Canva.
Because
So
it's very, very easy.
yeah.
Erica does classes on Canva.
Yeah.
She's done 2 recently, and I'm sure she's got another one scheduled. But pop into that. She's very good with Canva, or set a one-on-one with her. Maybe
Okay.
get an hour orientation.
Because it wouldn't cost you. I mean, if You can use their free photos, or you can do a pro, which is, I forget how much it is, like $10 a month or so. I mean, it's pretty cheap. And then, so you can use whatever photos they have.
Okay.
So you're not in violation of anything, and so it's very safe that way. So
Yeah.
that's why I like to use it, because it keeps me safe.
Right. And I think that's so important is that no matter, and so when we look at that modern side, we have to acknowledge some of the challenges with that modern side. With that modern side, you want clean, clear, concise, short messages, which means you're going to use a lot of visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you're using a visual, you have to make sure that you have the rights to use that visual. I get emails, probably 2 to 3 a day, saying that our website, from people accusing us that our website, or that we're not using proper photos on our website, but if we've had our website professionally developed and hosted, so they have gotten the rights to all those, but somebody trying to get money.
Oh, yeah, there are people that do that too.
Right,
Wow.
right. So anyway.
Just make sure you have permission.
Yeah.
Or if you take, like if you're around town or you have photos already, you can use your own photos.
Absolutely. But I also think that on our Facebook pages and our websites, not only do we have to be visually appealing, we also have to bring in strong information. And we have to give people the option to get what they would like. So one of the reasons that people want us to have a website is because they want us to have someplace to search. Whether they go there or not, they just want to know. Same thing with a mobile app. They want to know that you have a mobile app. Most of them are using Zillow. And we can really counter back or counterattack Zillow's mobile app is because, of course, it's using Zillow information, which is sometimes dated.
Yeah.
You have access to a mobile app that is connected to MLS. So things that happen in MLS happen in your HomeSnap app. Plus, it's branded to you, which
HomeSnap's
I mean, it's
awesome.
very difficult to get an app that's branded to you unless you pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
And once you share it with a customer and they log in, then what's so cool about that is that it's another
And you can tell when they log
connection.
in.
Huh?
And you can tell when they log in.
It's right. Other than being a little, Big Brother-ish, but but it's a form of communication. Anyway, so you can
I'm
see-
not saying you should stalk them, but
Oh, Tony Carabaltes, he is probably one of the best Facebook stalkers I've ever met.
oh, I believe that.
So literally, he'll
God,
get
he
a call
makes me
from
laugh every
somebody.
day.
He does. He's hilarious. He's one of our agents. If you're not connected to him on Facebook, friend him on Facebook.
Yeah, you
will
should.
laugh every day. I swear to you. What he posts
You never
is
know what
hilarious.
he's gonna post.
Whether it's his dogs or some other element, there's usually, or his 72 ducks, or his,
It's crazy. He's funny.
he is. He's hilarious. But that's how he's built his business. I mean,
And he's
an
done really well.
excellent
Yeah.
job. And another thing about Tony does not cut his commission. Does not cut his commission. The most I've ever seen him do on a property that should be at 6% is 5.5. It's the most I've ever seen him do.
Why should he? He knows what he's doing. He's getting people.
And when people ask, he does the no. And I've even heard him say, "That's really sweet of you to ask." No. And he just cuts it off.
Wow.
Most people are asking just because they feel like they have to ask.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's that combination, but it's respecting or learning the pros and challenges with each type of entity and how the two can connect, or 3 or 4, whatever it is that you're using. But we really need to identify how those are. And so now, if I'm asking you to do something out of your comfort zone, which is set aside time for prospecting, maybe some of that prospecting time is deciding which pieces you want to use.
Mhm.
But at least it's prospecting time, at least you've set it aside, right? 7 steps from prospecting plan. I mean, really, whether we like to believe it or not, this is still a nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes, face-to-face business.
Yeah.
I don't care how, even people around the world that you connect with that buy from you before they ever get here still want to see you when they get here. There's an element that you bring to a transaction and to your business that is so personal and so relationship related that many of your customers, past customers, are going to want to be your friend for life. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's how you develop it. It's how you position it. Hey, you.
Hey.
Don't you look good?
Y'all have a good weekend?
Yeah, how about you? Good.
Hot, it was a
Hi,
hot one,
Hazel.
wasn't it? Did y'all do the
It
beach?
was.
Do the beach?
Backyard.
Cool.
You look like you've been beaching it. Me too. I had to finally quit and get in the shade.
Yeah, I was in the shade most of yesterday.
Me too.
Well, I was house cleaning yesterday, so I
Whatever.
could be ready to go for this week.
House cleaning. I didn't do much of that.
I needed to.
Me either.
What'd you do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Perfect weekend.
I ate all weekend.
Yeah, I did some of that.
We
It's true.
decided we wanted seafood last night, so Dockside is my favorite go-to place for seafood, Dockside. But the line and the waiting is so ridiculous, so we did a
You went
takeout.
to the bar. Oh, I thought, oh, you went up to the bar. No.
Huh? They don't even have a bar that you can
Oh,
sit
really?
at.
You
No.
know?
No, I mean, you wait in that line to get your, it's just good food and it's so reasonable.
And it's hot, but when it's hot out, it's,
Yeah, so anyway, we did takeout. Fish is not as good when you have to bring it home,
I
and it's
think-
better when you can just sit down and eat it,
And
but,
have someone serve it to you.
and have someone serve it and
Right.
clean up behind you.
Right.
Yeah.
And serve you that beverage. Anyway.
Alright, well, was I disruptive enough?
Yes.
Yes,
Perfect.
Hazel.
Okay.
Perfect. So prospecting, we just really need to look at it. You need to set a goal. So whatever your prospecting time is, please
One
just
more
set a goal
question,
for
now,
that.
girl back. Did she go in a little, like,
She did. She got
Excursion?
back yesterday. I just saw her drive by. She flew by as somebody ran out and gave her something that I guess she needed
She's in
to
a rush to do some, yeah,
do something.
yeah, okay,
To get caught up.
yeah, catch you
To
later.
get caught up. All right, talk to you
Bye.
later. Just please set a goal. That's probably the easiest way for you to determine your prospecting time. It doesn't have to be a major goal. If you just said, you know, I want to make 10 phone calls, I want to write 5 notes, I want to, whatever it is, set a goal for what you're doing. It makes it much more relatable and much easier to actually manage, so you don't feel like it's a waste of time. But setting the goal is important. If you can, please schedule this regularly into your plan, into your calendar. The good thing about that is you know it's always there. Plus, as your business grows, your time may have to change that you find is ideal for prospecting, but prospecting time needs to be when you feel you're going to be productive. If you're not a morning person, don't set prospecting in the morning. It's not going to work. You have to connect prospecting time. It's not just something new. Decide what your target is. So how's my target? What is my target? And when it comes to my prospecting time, how am I going to manage it? How am I going to work with it? You also want to choose the best time and the best method. But the best method also goes back to what we were talking about traditional versus modern. What's the best method? And you have so many more choices now. And think about it, when you're doing something on Facebook, please don't diminish the fact that for $10 you can boost that and get
Yeah.
a whole bunch. It's $10 good
It's
and
cheap.
well invested. It's relatively inexpensive, and it can push your message to a lot more people, which is a very positive thing. So look at the different methods, find out not only what's going to be best for you, but how to efficiently work with some of the different methods. I mean, you might be able to find like a Hootsuite type of tool that if you post in one, Hootsuite helps you go to 3 or 4 other places,
Yeah,
right?
makes
So
it
maybe it's
easier.
a very good use of your time for whatever Hootsuite costs. So you might have a way to do that. With HomeSnap, you can post into one and choose others that you want it to go to at the same time and set your budget, which is an advertising or marketing budget. Check with your CPA, but in most cases, advertising dollars can be written off 100%.
Yeah,
So just think about it. Think about how you're doing that. It's not a bad investment to make into your process. But what's the best method for you? Where do you find works best for you? Visually, what's working best? And then, of course, your best time. Establish your approach. You know, it needs to match your personality. It needs to match your methods. Please identify that, look at that, see how that works. Track your efforts. So we have this little sheet here. If you would like to work with something, or if you're using a contact management program, that's probably the best thing to utilize.
yeah.
To have you selected one? Or are you working with one?
I actually, and I didn't even think of it, I have the Brian Buffini,
referral maker.
yeah,
Yeah,
So that's what I figured I'd
Excellent.
use, because I'm used to it. I haven't used
Absolutely.
it, you know, in the last 6 months or so, but I was looking at them and then I'm like, you know what, I should just probably use that.
you know, the best thing about finding a contact management program is you have to be comfortable with it. That's
Yeah.
why if you aren't using one, I say try 2 or 3, use the 2-week period that
Yeah.
they give you, use the same 10 people, have it be a couple people that you know that you can call, send them stuff and say, what did you think, what did you think, how was this different from the other one, what was the receptivity on it, and then you want to evaluate for ease of use and expandability for yourself. So take a look at that and see what you think, but when you find one, I'm not saying you have to stick with it for life, but
No.
what I am saying is, if it's something that you're using, that you're comfortable with, I think it's great. It's a good
Because it
program.
rates, you can rate your customers
Absolutely.
A plus, A, B, C, D.
Right.
So I like that part of it. There's
Sure.
a lot of things I like about it, so.
Sure. Yeah, good program. And then, of course, do it every day. You really have to be doing it every day for prospecting. We talk about face-to-face, webinars. So these are all the different types of things that can fall into your prospecting time. Whether it's networking, referrals, what's your content? Where are you putting your content? How are you building relationships? I mean, how terrible would it be to have either coffee or lunch with someone different 3 times a week for the next 6 weeks? Think about how that can expand your business base.
Yeah, true.
Think about what business connections you may be able to make. And how fun is that? You get to have coffee or tea, in the afternoon, maybe have tea. Maybe do 4 o'clock tea. Ooh, tea and crumpets, or I don't know, whatever it is. Tea and sandwiches, watercress. Advertising. Talked a little bit about that in business planning. You have to have a way to get your brand out there. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, advertising is the way to do that. It's pushing it out there, making sure that people are aware, that connect you to that brand or that image. Cold calling, nobody likes cold calling, but sometimes it works. Maybe you do cold calling with a smirk. I see the smirk.
Floyd Wickman.
Oh, Floyd Wickman, another real
Oh
estate
my
trainer.
God.
Big cold calling person.
Yeah, that's what the whole program was.
Yeah,
That was a hard program.
yeah.
Sweat hogs.
Sweat Hogs. That's right. I forgot that was the name. It's called
Yeah.
Sweat Hogs. And maybe it's not cold calling. Maybe it's warm calling.
Yeah, I
Um,
think warm calling is better personally, but
And maybe we just have to maybe we have to set a prospecting day a week and say, come in and prospect, whatever it is. You want to write 5 notes? Come in, write 5 notes. Whatever it is, maybe we have to make it a way. Think about that. Anyway, so these are just ideas on things you can do during prospecting time. Not a bad thing to think about either. I mean,
no, it's good. And it all can help your business, so.
If nothing else, please use this as a reminder when you're feeling like, I want to do my prospecting today, I have no idea what to do. Go back to the list and go, I could send 5 emails. I could send 5 emails and write 5 notes.
Yeah,
And if it's nothing, and if nothing else, pick friends and reconnect with them. Just say hi. Not a problem. Easy. Not too foreign. Just as a refresher, everything really starts with prospecting. So you're starting with prospecting, we're moving into preparation for the meeting, we're talking about the approach, the presentation, handling the objections. So these are all pieces that you can use in the sales process and prospecting. When I'm prospecting, what am I doing? I'm preparing for that next step. Remember, I'm trying to get face to face. When I'm preparing, I want to have an approach. I want to know what my goal is here. When I have my approach, I can put together my presentation. So maybe I set 5 appointments over the next 3 weeks to practice my buyer consult and ask someone on the other side of me whether they're really in the process of buying or not. What do you think? If you were in the buying process right now, does this answer your questions? What other questions do you have that I'm not addressing so that I can improve the package that I'm doing? They'll appreciate being involved, and some time with you, I'm sure, is well valued. So it's something that I'm sure people enjoy. And then, of course, handling objections, because when we learn the objections from other people, or when people give us objections, of course, what are they attempting to do? Eliminate. They're attempting to set aside. So an objection is a way to set something aside. So if we can find the common objections, we can create our own scripts. There are thousands of scripts out there that people use to start the process and to help give themselves a rhythm. And that's great, but they don't cover all the objections. So when we get those objections, let's take those objections in. When they stump us, never a problem to say, let me research that, never a problem to say, how can I help, or never a problem to say, let me get back to you. So, but then we have the opportunity to add that objection to our list and find out our own script to use if that objection comes up again. And then of course, closing and follow-up. Again, we have this silent salesperson syndrome where we forget to either wear our badges, or we forget to tell people that we're in real estate, or what do you do? Or we don't tell somebody, we don't sound proud about what we do. So you're a real estate professional. You have a business. There's no reason that you shouldn't have a way to do your business, right? And be excited about it too, if you're doing this. I neglected to tell you, Christine, Jessica and Elmore have 17 different Airbnb.
I knew they had a lot because she was at the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Did you say it during the meeting?
Oh, maybe I did.
I knew
Sorry.
it was a lot. I didn't
It's a
know how
repeat.
many though.
Repeat ad. Anyway, check for
great.
them on Airbnb. No.
It's great.
Yeah. So prospecting in your CRM, I did want to just remind you there are a variety of different CRMs. Your CRM should be your partner in prospecting. Why? It can be the place to put all of your different pieces of information. It can be the tool that helps coordinate, correlate, construct your drip campaigns. It can be the tool that helps you manage your processes, which you have to have that assistant. You really
Yeah.
have to have that assistant. And in some point in your business career, you may consider hiring someone, part-time, full-time, licensed, not.
Yeah.
Totally up to you depending on how you write the job description. But it's hard to share with someone your processes if you don't have them in place. Otherwise, they start to create the processes for you. Can that be okay? Sure. But do the processes relate to how you do business?
Right.
So once you establish something, right there is referral maker.
Yeah.
So there are a variety of different ones. Referral makers, the neat thing about referral maker is when you get into referral maker, a lot of times you see, one of the first things you see is what your energy is resulting in income flow or return on investment. And that is a great,
Yeah.
not only motivator, but process, because just under that are the tasks that you do. So it's a great program. Wise Agent is just flipped a little bit. Wise Agent works on your tasks first and then shows you your return on your investment. But they're doing the same things. They're saying, what do we need to do? What's our motivation? What do we need to do? What's our motivation? So keeping you in business. Top Producer is the only one that, not to be negative, but it's the only one that I have a problem with. I'm a simpleton. My mind works fairly straightforward. This just had a lot
It's
of
too
stuff
much
in
for
it.
me.
Is that okay? So,
I think it's too much for me, but
yeah. And that was the exact same feeling I had. There was so much in there. I felt like I was paying this price
And you're gonna
and
use
using this much. And so I felt my return.
I think for some people it obviously it works well for some people because
Absolutely.
there are many
Absolutely.
people that use it, but for me it's,
I agree.
if I have to track any business that much,
Right.
I'm gonna retire.
Right. For the
You know I'm kidding.
No, I know. Thank goodness you're kidding. For the engineer, something like Top Producer might be recommended
Yeah.
because it's very detailed.
My husband would probably love Top Producer.
There you go. Yeah.
So when I force him to get his license, then
Then he'll use Top
we,
Producer. No, you'll make Referral Maker work for him. Lion's Head is another one, or Lion's Desk is another one I've heard really good things about recently with Lion's Desk. And then Jerry and Courtney just got another one. I can't remember the name, but they are really liking it. They
yeah,
like
it's
it.
free too. The one that they have, they switched.
Oh, they
Because I
switched.
talked to her after the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have a different one now, and it's free, and they like it because I think they don't want one that has all of this when they're only using this.
Right.
So they found one that they like better.
Great. Okay.
I can't think of what the name of it is. I wonder if I have it in here.
Yeah.
I don't,
Well, if you find
Probably
it,
don't.
let us know.
yeah. Because I did ask her which one she was using. And then I got home from the meeting and I was like, well, why don't I just use the one that I already have?
Well, and
Which kind of made sense to me.
well, and sometimes it's that light bulb thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
I just
I
haven't-
already
yeah,
have one.
I just really haven't worked it since
Right.
I left New England.
and the only thing I will say is that, where am I? I'll go back up. Oh, that's forward. My only challenge in this list is Excel. I love Excel, but not for contact management.
Yeah, I like it. I
mean,
use
the
it a lot
amount
for a lot of
information
things,
that
but
you want to keep
yeah,
and manage becomes
It's a
very
great
challenging
program,
in a
yeah.
spreadsheet program. You need something that will allow you to search and manipulate a little bit.
it's great
more
for
easy.
certain things though.
But I will tell you, I often say to people when they're first starting out, look, just get everybody's name, address, email, and phone number into Excel, and we'll figure it out from there. Because you can export out of.
Right,
I
exactly.
mean, you can take a file in Excel and bring it into a lot of other programs.
Yeah,
So as long as I can get you somewhere, I'm happy. But anyway, I have seen this, which is almost scary to me. I have seen realtors put notes on Post-its, and I'm a Post-it person. I'll put notes on Post-it, and I'll put them in my little daytimer thingy or whatever. But just be careful. I mean, you shut a door, now they all fall off, and it's kind of scary. People laugh when they see that, but it's really actually true. What should you expect from your CRM? Well, you should. Oops. What should you expect from your CRM? Goals from your CRM. You really want this to be a place to organize your brain.
yeah,
Whether it's the income portion, whether it's the contact number of times, whether it's your drip campaigns. Drip campaigns are just campaigns that have, like a for sale by owner campaign or an expired listing campaign. They're just a drip campaign has steps to it. And what I like about most CRMs is some of them come with campaigns in them. Others allow you to create your own campaign or take what they've done and manipulate it or alter it to fit your personality, which I like. But it's a way to organize your brain around something, and then give yourself reminders too, I think is really a great thing about CRMs. Maintaining your connections during, pre, post. I think Christine made a good point with Referral Maker, hot, warm, cold, same kind of thing can be done in most CRMs
Yeah,
if
it's
you
true.
use it via tagging or via categories, depending on what each system calls it, but a way to connect. So I know you from book club, but you're a warm buyer. I know you from church and
Yeah.
you're a hot seller, So it allows you to really refine your categories or tags and know that when you bring them up, and it allows you to make your own definitions. So as a hot seller, I may define her as being ready to list within the next 2 months. But I may also have a hot referral source, and that's a source that might give me 3 or more referrals a year. So my hot category can contain 25 or 50
Yeah.
people, but the reason may be different.
true.
But the goal is generating business, right? Working that 90-day funnel. So this is prompts, action, and reaction. And I need to change this. Prompts, proactive action is what this should really be. So we don't want to react because that means we're behind the curve, unfortunately. When someone's ready, we know that the majority of the times to list, they're going to interview one agent. So you need to be that agent. So is it friend, family member, and they interview you, and you decide you don't want it because they're a friend, family member, or is it, how did they choose who they interviewed that one with? I know we often say you need to interview 3. Use me as your measuring stick, but statistics show us that the majority of sellers interview 1. Often tends to be someone they know. But I will tell you, a lot of people don't always want to work with someone they know. They
That's
don't
true.
want their personal business in front of someone they know. Good, bad, or indifferent, right? So proactive means getting your name, your brand, your positioning, your mission statement out in front of people so they feel confident working with you. So that becomes the element of what we're looking at. You need to get face to face with people. So, and I use social media as an example for this. With social media, we have a tendency to think we have a connection before we really have a connection. In social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to some degree, but really Facebook and Instagram, sometimes people think that when they like something that you posted or they make a comment, that's a connection. It's really not. The connection doesn't occur until they've made a comment, you've responded, and they've responded to you. Now we have a connection. And it takes about 25 of those connections to get roughly 4 appointments. And it takes 4 appointments to get really 1 contract, 1 buyer. But the advantage to having those 25 connections is you begin to determine who might be hot, warm, cold, and then getting in front of them affirms, let's be positive, affirms your initial observation, and then that contract comes usually because you've taken the time to invest. And what we have to work with is time, energy, and money, right? Our time, our energy, our money. So we want to know how to invest those items when it comes to prospecting. But getting face to face should be your primary goal.
Yeah.
Should be your primary goal. Still nose to nose, toes to toes face business, even for people who are outside of our region, outside of our market, outside of our country, looking to move here and have found and connected with you via voice. They need and will want to connect with you face to face at some point.
Yeah.
They want to be in front of you. 7 things to consider when evaluating your CRM is, is it compatible with other tools you're currently using? So if you're using something like Referral Maker, does it work if you're buying leads from some other location, allow you to push those leads into your CRM? If I'm using something like Prospects Plus, which is a company that designs advertising programs for real estate, can I send them my list fairly easily out of my CRM?
Yeah.
So does it work with other things that you're using?
That's one of the ones I was looking at the other day, Prospects Plus, because I used to use them a lot.
Love that.
Because they have the steps, like when you're talking about getting a FSBO or something like that, they have programs with all of those steps.
Right.
So
they don't have a
it's good for
9-step
ideas.
program.
Yeah.
But for example, they have a great for sale by owner that has 3 pieces that you could send in between letters or phone
Right.
calls.
You can
or
make it work with
contacts.
the other
Yeah.
stuff you're doing. So
That's one of the things I love about Prospects Plus. Prospects Plus is an online resource. Does it cost? Yes, it costs. Can you mail out directly from them? Yes, you can mail out directly from them. Can you purchase from them? Yes, you can purchase from them. The thing I like is it's not usually like a Milli Vanilli one-hit wonder.
right.
You know Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, I do.
Saying, you're
She's too young. Yeah, no way.
Milli Vanilli was a duo, and they created notoriety and fame because
They
they hit the
lip-synced.
top. They hit the top of the music charts, and it was discovered that they did lip syncing. Neither of them could sing a note, but they made it to the top of the charts by lip syncing.
That was
Anyway,
crazy.
and they had like one hit, or the other one-hit wonders that you may run into. Anyway, so where were we? I don't even remember now. Total train left the station.
I don't know.
One-hit wonders.
Yeah.
Anyway, you don't want to be a one-hit wonder. So that'll be my transition.
There you go.
Don't want to be a one-hit wonder. You want to be consistent. You want to be proactive, and you want to stay top of mind for your customers and potential customers. Does it have strong automation features? In other words, can you set up reminders? In other words, reminders of when they bought, reminders of when they sold, reminders of birthdays, reminders of pets' names, reminders of things that are important to those individuals and to you and how you set up your business. Does the CRM company have good customer service? I gotta tell you, this is one of the things you really have got to watch because it's hard learning a CRM, whether you're getting back into Referral Maker, there's still going to be things that you run into that you may not remember how to do. Starting with a new one, you're going to find all sorts of stuff that you're not even sure what to do with. So do they have someone, or whatever? Okay, anyway, customer service becomes so important. Can you get a hold of someone? And
Yeah.
I will say that's one of the things I really liked about HomeSnap. I think I told the story.
HomeSnap is really, because I had a problem logging in here, they're very fast to respond. Because I had logged in up north and it wouldn't accept, I had logged
Your
into
credentials
NERC
here.
here and I was like, I'm taking a class. I need help right now. And like 5 minutes later, they got right back to me
Yeah.
and straightened it out. No problem. And I went to the class and it was great. They're really good.
I had, I was linking my URL because I went ahead and bought the website from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was linking my URL to the website and I couldn't, it just, for some reason, whatever operator error I was having, I couldn't get it to connect. And so I called them and just said, hi, I've got this problem. I understood the person on the other end of the line.
Yeah,
So,
that's a big
which
one.
is great because sometimes my voice is a little deeper, sometimes I'm just older, I don't always hear as well. So I could understand the person on the other end of the line. She was friendly and nice. She answered my questions quickly, and within about 5 minutes, she had my website connected. No problem.
They're really good.
And she even went one step further. She said, I see you have a bunch of other URLs. Why aren't you connecting them to this website? And I said, well, I don't market and I don't advertise. And she said, what if somebody just happens to type that in? Wouldn't you rather they come to you, or you could share that with someone in your company? I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
She said, well, I think we should connect all those. There were 4 or 5 others. I think we should
Mhm.
connect all those
Wow.
to this website. I said, okay. And
That's great.
I don't think we were on the phone more than 15 minutes. Everything was
Yeah.
connected. I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like total customer service that you want. Easy to connect with
Well, you teach a class on that, don't you?
on HomeSnap.
Yeah. Because I heard that you were excellent
Oh,
at teaching HomeSnap.
thank you. Yeah, and I like it. And the motivation to teach a class on it is your customers expect you to have a mobile app, and I don't want your customers to have Zillow.
Totally agree. And it's a great app. So
And just so you know, I'm not in the shadows saying negative things about Zillow. A woman called me about Dotloop, and
Uh-huh.
Dotloop is a Zillow-owned product, and I
hate
don't like Dotloop
Sorry,
either.
don't like
And so I said to her, I appreciate your time. I'm happy to sit and review it with you. I respect what you're doing, but I'm not a fan of Dotloop. First of all, I don't care for the way it interacts.
yeah, I don't
It
like it
seems
at all.
like whenever agents from our company have a Dotloop connection that comes from another brokerage, we always seem to have trouble getting into it or getting the documents downloaded. And then we were through with the demo, and I said, thank you, I can't thank you enough for your time, I appreciate it, I know you have to make these phone calls. She goes, well, maybe now would be a good time to make the change, and I said, okay, I said it from the very start, I'm not a big fan of Dotloop, but here's the other thing, you're owned by Zillow, and I'm not going to pay money to a company that tries to grab my listings and
Yeah,
sell them
and
back
sell
to
back.
me.
Right.
I said, so I appreciate it, you've been kind, I have nothing bad to say about our interaction except you will not find me using Dotloop. And she's like, I understand completely, thank you very much. But, so I'm not in the shadows saying negative things about Zillow. I'll tell them right to their face. I don't like what they do.
The shoe fits?
Yeah, I don't like what they do. The last thing I want is someone taking my listing
Yeah,
and then selling it back to me.
I thought it was crazy when they started doing that.
But anyway.
It's nuts.
That has nothing to do with CRMs, other than your CRM may need to connect with some other sort of mobile media platform that you use. Has the company and CRM been around for a while? Why are we having trouble here? Go all the way across. Thank you. All right. Has the company and CRM been around for a while, and has it been supported for a while? You want to know. I mean, most of the ones that we talk about have been around for a while.
Yeah.
Top Producer, when I first got
been
into
around
the
forever.
industry in 1997, was just coming out.
Yeah.
And it's still around, and it's great. I mean, it's great for somebody. Not for me, but it's great for somebody, right? How much time are you willing to invest in learning your CRM? It's exponential. You have to, if your prospecting time for the first 3 weeks of committing to a CRM is learning the CRM, great. Promise you, it'll behoove you to do something like that and set aside
it's
some of
worth
your
it.
other prospecting time, talents, or tasks. If you are part of a team, does the CRM work for a team? So I can't remember if Buffini does.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I know that in Wise Agents you can have others.
Although I do know some teams that are part of Buffini, so I'm not sure, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
Some CRMs, so if you're part of a team, require that the primary buy and that each other person buy a subscription. Sometimes it's a discounted prescription. Some, like Wise Agent, have people that you can put under your account, so you don't have to buy other accounts. Some people who are teams say, we're a team, so we'll both use the same login and password
Yeah.
in the same platform.
Whatever
That's okay
works,
too.
yeah.
Just watch your restrictions from your guidelines for your subscriptions. That
Mhm.
it doesn't violate your subscription. That's the only thing we want. Backup things. Are you seeking a sales or relationship focus? Mentioned Buffini. The first thing you see is your return on your investment. That's sales oriented, and that, not that that's a bad thing, and that your relationship, your tasks come second. Other ones, tasks come first. I mean, all of them have both pieces. It's just what
Yeah.
you see first. Does it relate to you? Do you relate to it? That's all that's all we're really looking for in that case. Invest in your CRM. It will grow with you. It really will. What are the basic fields? Can you expand them? Can you add tags or labels or categories? Just when you're looking at CRMs, kind of think about some of these things. How easy is to import or export? This is so
That's a
important.
big deal.
You have got to be able to easily import and export into and out
Absolutely.
of a CRM. Because everything that you've done before, you want still valuable. Everything that's in there, you want to take out and use other resources, whether it's Prospects Plus or Broker, something broker. Whatever the tools are, there's going to have to be an interaction. So does it allow you to do that with easy flow? I think Referral Maker does. Wise Agent's pretty good at it too. There'll always be pieces that you have to customize. Can you keep detailed notes? This is really important. And how do you keep your detailed notes? Where and how, I think, is important. Does the CRM allow you to sort easily through your contacts? So if my prospecting today is to get email addresses for customers I don't have email addresses for, can I pull the customers that I don't have email addresses for? Very important. It has to be flexible to work with what you're trying to do. So getting those additional pieces of information. If you're purchasing leads, can you push those leads into your CRM so you don't have to constantly re-enter information? Will you have to clean up information? Probably. But does it allow you to push information in? Is there an app for that in your mobile? I think just about every CRM that I'm aware of
Yeah.
has something mobile that you
Something.
can add from your phone or do from your phone. So that you're not having to go back to the end of the day and remember everything that you did during that
Because
day.
that's not gonna happen.
Yes, not gonna happen. You're right. Does it connect with your MLS? I don't know if this is important or not. Contactually connects with your MLS, but I don't know that it's important to connect with your MLS, because if you're sharing a mobile app with your MLS, or a mobile app that connects to your MLS, it's probably strong enough. I don't know that you want your CRM connected to your MLS. I don't know if that's that important, but sometimes it's important to people. So it just has to do. So what I do want to remind you is that whatever CRM you choose, that's your base CRM. So if I'm using Wise Agent should be what I go into every day. Referral Maker should be what I go into every day. Top Producer should be what I go into every day. That's the first thing that I should be able to bring up.
Yeah.
The other thing about that, actually I need to add to that list, can you incorporate your calendar
Yeah, I can,
into your CRM?
because now it's sending me emails.
Which is great. So then you have
Don't
another,
forget to do this,
Right.
so-and-so has a birthday today. But all of a sudden, I have like 30 new emails a day. So I gotta
That's
tweak
the only
it.
challenge.
Yeah, I gotta tweak it a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, but the reminders are great.
It is great, because you
You have
don't
more
miss
than
it.
one platform reminding you, right? Now, MLS has customer contact management in MLS. It's called customer management, I think it is, or contact. Maybe even be called contact management. But what it is it's not true contact management. It has a portal in it which allows communication to go two ways, which is great. But it's not really your contact management. It doesn't set up reminders. There's information in there that shows how active your
Yeah.
customer has been within MLS or within the MLS link that you've sent, the subscription that you've created. It tells you how active they have been, which is great because then you can kind of
That's
monitor
helpful.
their activity. And then if their activity drops, then it gives you a reason to reach out to them. But it doesn't tell you contact this person. So this is usually, I say, about 60 to 90 days out from when your customer, buyer or seller is interested in engaging in real estate. Sometimes if you go too far or too early in this, it's easy to become irrelevant because what they end up doing is, oh, Jessica sent me that. That was so nice of her. So we meet at an open house. I give you my email address, and you say I'll send you properties that are similar to this. And so tomorrow I get some properties from you, and the next day I get some properties from you. I'm like, oh, that was really nice of Jessica. She did what she said she was supposed to do. That's great. Thank you very much. And then by day 3 or 4, I'm like, you know what? I don't need more emails. And so I start deleting that. I don't call you and tell you. And you haven't called me to ask if that information makes sense or if it's timely or anything to continue, or send me an email if that's all you have. I just want to make sure you're getting the emails, and are they relevant, or would you prefer, what would you prefer? So I end up deleting you. Delete. Now when it comes time, I'm really more in the market. I don't associate you with real estate, I associate you with delete, right? So I may have lost an opportunity. So I think using MLS is important. I think setting it up too early can be a deterrent or can be detrimental to our connection. So be aware. The point is that sometimes you're going to be using multiple sources, and you have to figure out where those sources are. But your base CRM really needs to be that thing that you go into or plan to go into every single day.
Yeah.
That's where it really needs to be. And then use anything else as a support system. And hopefully it can push into your CRM so that, one, it saves you time and energy, but also you're using the full understanding of what you have available. And if you aren't buying from other resources, good. I'm not opposed to buying leads, but I think you have to be very conscious of how and where you buy them.
Yeah.
And please, if you are buying leads, use resources that you don't pay until the lead closes, rather than paying up front and getting a bunch of leads that have never been qualified or reviewed. But I think MLS is a dynamic resource. It's just when we use it, and can we share information in some way so that it makes sense. So we're getting the most powerful information and the most robust information to help us do our job better, right? And so that we can set a process for it. And again, working in your CM is not a one and done
That's
type
true.
of thing. It's just not a one and done type of thing. It's really something that encompasses over a commitment, right? So what I want to ask you to do is these are just some guidelines. Here's a few different CRMs, and I'll give you an idea of the pricing, and I'll give you an idea of some of the reasons. The reason I give you this is, one, if you are considering something like a Lion Desk or Buffini or Referral Maker, please use some of these categories to
Yeah.
help evaluate in addition to the questions.
That's a good idea.
Use some of these categories to evaluate your CRM. If you're currently using one, use some of these categories to figure out how to make your CRM work better for you, right? So look at the categories, look at it, see what makes sense. Remember, we've already got app files, so you don't really need transaction management. So that'll help you with that. That may eliminate that category. But think about all the other categories, just autoresponders, email broadcasts, marketing templates. Are there letters in there that you can use? So can they be beneficial? Can they help you, right? And then for your online identity scoring, this is just a little fun.
No, I wasn't
you're
gonna
just
say
breathing.
anything. Yeah.
Okay, breathing's good. This is just a little resource to remind yourself to stay in touch with your online identity. So give yourself a little bit of a score. See how you're doing. score the first page search results. Put your URL in, see where it comes up. Go to your first page on your website or your first page on your mobile app and see, does it allow a consumer to do what they want to do? Remember, they're coming to you for information.
Yeah.
So is there information that's relevant there? Does the information change regularly? This is why I like the HomeSnap website, because I don't do anything with it, and it's constantly changing
Yeah,
for me.
it does.
Right.
It's great.
Search terms, producing results, number of sites you control, number of sites with mentions, first impressions. This is kind of high. This is high level looking down. Even take these score categories from really the basics. When I go to Christine's website, why would a consumer be going there? Well, they'd be looking for homes. We hope, right? So, can I search for homes fairly easily? I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so, right? What do the results look like when I get them? Are they relatable? Does it make sense? Can I manage them? Number of sites you control. Do you own more than one URL and have you connected it? I was being silly. I had all these other URLs.
You
and I
already
was
paid for them, so.
I was buying them and paying for them manually, but they weren't going anywhere. So did it make sense to go ahead? Yeah, I was really glad that she suggested that. So things to think about just from your online presence. If nothing else, please take a moment. If you haven't set up a Google alert for your name, please do that. And please set up a Google alert for your name. Hey, you, how are you?
Good. Do you know how many Jessica Allison Johnsons are on this planet?
Yeah.
Googling my name would never work.
Right.
So can you do Jessica Johnson, Realtor Jackson? Are there really?
There's multiple realtors too? Wow.
When I go to Verizon or like a place like that, and they're like, "What's your name?" and they'll do it, and then they'll put in like a zip code, and they're like, "No, this isn't gonna work."
Okay, so Jess is gonna
Works
do-
for me.
Jess is gonna,
what
Christine Baranowski. Yeah, there's only one other one. There is another one though, believe it or not.
Seriously?
In New York, yeah.
There
In
were
real estate?
Yeah.
there
Not
were,
in real estate,
Oh.
no.
There were 3 Jessica Allison Johnsons that went to my high school.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously? Oh my gosh. I wouldn't have thought that been that normal. I
Oh.
mean, not sure standard.
You're Jessica too, right?
Right, yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Was it a soap opera star's name?
Mine?
No,
Yes.
a lot of
Oh, no.
times, a lot of times
Jessica
when,
Lange.
yeah, a lot of
was-
times there were,
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
because they hear the name.
So she'll
all the
focus
time.
on strategy, which is her horse properties. So she'll get alerts for horse properties.
Yeah, it makes
Sorry
sense.
to interrupt. I interrupt everything.
It's
I
all
love
good.
it because it always sparks
It's good.
something. Every time someone comes in, there's always something we can bounce off of. So now we have to set you up with Google alerts for horse properties.
There can't be more than one that has horse properties.
Probably not. I don't know.
So I think you might be all set with that search.
Jessica Johnson, realtor horse properties. Okay. And Jessica.
Hopefully that one would work.
Okay, so other than Jesse, I would recommend setting up Google alerts. Just either for a specialty or for your name, or even I set up one for real estate trends just so I can see what other real estate trends are being talked about. So you can maybe have something different to talk to your consumers about. So it's maybe an opportunity for that. Skills and assets and accelerating or assisting. This is just a thing that I found. It's actually a little on the old side, but I still find it's relevant, so that's not a bad thing. Just some things to think about when it comes to skills, watching your skills. Remember, accelerating your skills. You need to have a strong online presence, folks, whether we like it or not. You need to have a strong online presence. Marketing, focus on your base, focus on listings, scale and replicate, and then it goes into a few details on each of those pieces. A couple of examples we put into there just to kind of start thinking. But this is a great exercise to kind of set you, when we're talking about prospecting, we're talking about setting time aside for prospecting. Going through this little exercise can help you see where you might or where you feel that your talents or strengths may not be as strong, and that would be something you would want to set your prospecting time for. Right? So online presence might be something you want to set your prospecting time for. Or a focus on listing. Maybe you're improving your seller console. Right? So those are some things to think about when it comes to prospecting, when it comes to developing your time and online presence for prospecting, and then also things that you can do with prospecting. Does that make sense? Does some of this make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think any of it's rocket science, right? Fortunately, and I don't think anybody's gonna die if we don't do it, but.
No, but it does help you when you're keeping track of stuff. And you get more done when you're keeping track of stuff.
I agree.
At least I do.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm speaking for myself.
I don't think you're saying anything that's not true to all
Yeah.
of us. I mean, when I'm trying to write a class, if I don't dedicate time to what the goals of
have
it
to.
were and are and all that kind of stuff, what the pieces of it are, and what can we find that's going to make, what research can we do to help. So yeah, I think so prospecting is really key in our business because it's really what sustains our business. Remember, we're working at a 90-day funnel. Still, even in this market, we're still working at a 90-day funnel. Does that mean some things will happen more quickly? Absolutely, some things will happen
Yeah.
more quickly, but it's still a 90-day funnel. When you think about some buyers who have made 12 to 18 offers on properties before anything's stuck,
I've done that, not here, but I've done. Yeah, the last year was crazy.
how many? What's the most offers you've written for one buyer?
Probably about that.
Yeah.
They got it. They got the last one though. They got one.
Okay, so what do you think made the difference in them getting there?
I think that in the beginning they were trying to. I mean, they didn't understand the market in the beginning, and then there were just too many. You know, when you're having 25 or 30 other people going. I mean, New England was really tough. So when you have 25 or 30 offers for every property, it gets difficult. And when you're working with people that are first-time buyers, and these were first-time buyers that had more money than most people, and it was still difficult. And once they figured out that they were gonna, no matter what, they were gonna have to go above. But then it was like trying to tweak it so that it was like, because the market there was not 1.02, it was more like 1.20% above. So it was crazy. When we were listing our when I was going to list our property, I had a number in mind, and I had done the market analysis early, and then I did it again. I'm like, I'm not going to put it on for that. That's ridiculous. So I came to my husband, Joe, with the paperwork. I said, here, you need to sign this. He says, no one's going to offer. No one's going to offer on that price. I'm like, not only are they going to offer on that price, it's going to go over that price. And he just couldn't believe it. And that's exactly what happened. I said, I did a new market analysis, and so it was crazy.
But that's why.
Crazy market.
Yeah, and that's why in these markets, I think we almost have to do a market analysis every day.
Yeah, just to keep an idea of what's
If nothing else, on
happening.
our own property, so that we are aware of what our customers are going through,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to address changes, concerns, upticks, downticks. I mean, right now, with the increase in interest rates, you've got people at the 200 to 500 range that are being pushed down anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 in price point.
Yeah,
You've got 500 to
true.
$1 million that seem to still be okay. You've got $1 million, $1.5 million and up that have retracted.
Yeah.
They're using cash
That's
in a lot of ways.
probably
to
because of the
buy.
markets.
Because of the stock market, absolutely.
they're not.
So another indicator, right?
Yeah.
So look at those market segments. So
True.
where do we have the greatest competition? 200 to 500.
Yeah,
That's where you're getting even 200 to 400.
that's the hardest.
You're getting
Mm-hmm.
multiple offers on things. So how do you stand apart? That's why I was asking, because in this market, it seems, in our metro, it seems as if the willingness to either one, pay an appraisal gap, and or two, pay seller closing costs seem to be two features that are very
Yeah, the seller closing
intriguing to
costs,
the
I think,
seller.
is a smart thing, and that's not something that they were doing up north. And I thought, oh, that would have worked. I could have maybe I only had to show 5 houses. I don't know.
Maybe we only had to write
We
5
might have
offers.
been able to make that work.
Yeah.
But you
So,
just,
I mean,
you
what is
know.
it? It's all about what's, you know,
Right,
the
it made-
seller's going to look at it.
I
and say,
thought that was a
"Yes."
smart move.
And I shouldn't just say that, because it's not true. I mean, a lot of sellers,
For some people.
right, a lot of sellers will look at the net, but there's usually a secondary motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they going to live here, or are they going to tear this down?
Yeah. True.
Or is it an investor versus an
You
occupant?
can't always tell,
And you're right, you can't.
because our house, we thought they were moving in and they're renting it.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I was not happy.
Yeah, I get that.
I was not happy.
I get that.
Nice people, but
Now, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? This is something that came up at NAR. Did you go?
no, not this year.
So it was one of the general sessions where everybody's packed into, you know, a big room, and
Mm-hmm.
they have a panel. And one of the young ladies who's been very successful out in California was talking about a strategy that I thought was interesting, but I have a lot of questions about. So she said that what they've been doing, and she's in the Oakland, so San Francisco Bay Area,
Mhm.
she's in the Oakland area, and she said, so what we've been doing is we go in to the seller talking about the market pricing. What is it? Probably Teresa. Or it could be Jesse's. Jesse, did you
Yeah,
leave
she
something
was
on the
just
printer, or
over
did you
there.
get your?
I don't think I did, but maybe.
Okay, Patty may have it. She said what we're doing is going in at market price. Oh, I don't know what it was, so she may have given it to Teresa.
Okay, I don't know.
They'll go in at market price and then recommend a price $100,000 to $200,000 below that, knowing that it's going to sell $200,000 to $400,000 above. And I'm like,
I have a problem with that.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. So now you think market value is 800. You're listing it at 600,
I
and
don't-
it's selling for 1.2.
I don't
So
agree
it's
with
selling for 200% more. So if you're a realtor looking,
How are you representing your customer or client?
I thought, ooh,
I don't
feel
know, I don't like
that
that.
really violates about 3
I don't like
articles in
that.
the Code of
Yeah.
Ethics.
Yeah, there's one, as I was reading through the articles of codes of ethics, there's you are not specifically allowed to misrepresent the price of the property
Right,
to
Article
gain
2.
a listing.
that's right.
Article 2, yeah.
Is that Article 2? I need to
It's either 2 or 3.
remember.
But anyway, yeah, and I think we need to when we talk about CMAs, we talk about the creating a CMA. We talk about the articles in the Code of Ethics that you're bound by.
Yeah.
That I think we need to talk to our sellers more about. I think we need to make it part of our
Yeah,
seller
it's-
consult that says, you know, look, this is what I believe the true value is, and here's why I'm saying this. You know, I can't tell you that it's worth more.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone who's pricing it $200,000 less can say, well, it's not that I told you it was worth less, I told you what it was worth, and this is a strategy that I
Yeah,
have seen
and that's a
work.
different, that's different,
still-
but you'd still have the conversation with them,
I would hope so, but
saying
I
that
don't know. I mean,
yeah, I couldn't,
and
I
I'm a
couldn't,
Californian, so I mean,
I know you
still
are,
hold
but
them in
I
high
couldn't-
esteem, but
I couldn't do that, but you got both sides, because your mother's from the east.
it's true, that's true.
So
Yeah, my
you're
family's
kind of
from
balanced.
my mom's side of the family, yeah,
No.
or bipolar, anyway. And then I went to school in Northern California, but I'm from Southern California, so there's arguing there, and then there's East
Oh,
Coast,
gosh.
West Coast versus East Coast, so now I'm like all screwed up. Yeah.
Works for me.
Anyway, so those are some strategies. So that's the other thing about prospecting is it's a great opportunity to see if you can develop some strategies to discuss with your sellers, or strategies to discuss with your buyers. Ways to make their offer stronger, or ways to position the property to be a stronger property in the marketplace. I know now, but it's also an opportunity to talk to your sellers about, and you have to figure out this from your prospecting time, how you want to use that, is to remind your seller that your professional fee is your professional fee, and in a market like this, when they believe that it will sell so fast, they don't need you as much. So
But
that's
that's
why
just this part of the, I mean, this is how much they think that you need, but that, putting the deal together is just a small portion of what we do.
well, not only is it a small portion of what we do, but in this market, we're seeing properties
Fall
often,
through. So you end up doing it more than once, so,
right? Marketing the house 2 and 3 times. It's not easy.
No, it's not always gonna be like this, though.
Well, it's already starting to shift. It's already starting to shift. Anyway,
Yay.
whatever wood you can find.
Actually, I'm not complaining about it, so.
No. No.
It is what it is. It's cyclical, so it'll change.
Yeah. It's true. Everything is cyclical. So.
Then the market comes down, then you'll buy another 10 houses.
That's the plan.
Cause that's what I'm waiting for the shift. It's like,
I know.
ugh.
Hey, if you get any of the reports from the city,
Yeah,
you see that there's more houses that are.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, if you look in list pendants in MMT is a
yeah.
data resource that is an application through MLS that you have access to, and it shows you all the list pendants files.
That's amazing. The class that I just took at MLS, they talked about that. It was,
I do an MMT.
there's so much, I know, but it was just offered and,
No, I know, and we can talk.
but I think it's a
Their
great,
class is great. We talk about application a little bit.
but I think it's,
Strategy.
it's really a great program.
Yeah.
That's when I started looking at my neighborhood, and then I was like, okay, now this MMT, I can tell who is most likely to sell. I mean, there's some of the information you can get in our MLS system is incredible.
It is. I think combining MMT with HomeSnap. I love if you use the heat maps through MMT
Crazy.
or through HomeSnap. Excuse me, and then take those addresses into MMT and kind of research them.
Yeah,
Or in MMT, you can set up strategies. For example, I want to target owners who have lived in their home 15
Yeah.
years or more, and whatever other strategy, something you can combine it with something else, or just owners that have lived in their home 15 years or more in this area. And you can even use
it's
custom market
amazing.
areas by drawing on a map.
When I think about the old days with our MLS books, it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable.
That's right.
Well, you wouldn't have had MLS books when you started.
No, my father did though.
Yeah. I did in the 80s,
Yeah.
and then into the 90s, they were just going online.
I remember the shelves full of the books. It used to be the. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Did you ever see that?
No.
It used to be a book. MLS used to be a book, and it came once a week.
Ours came twice a week. I mean, every other week, I think,
Every
in
other
New England.
one black and white picture with information, and then you had to figure it out.
My grandfather was a realtor, so
okay.
yes.
You saw.
Yes.
It was a crazy. So when you see the kind of information that's available now, like at your desktop, compared to what you have to do to try and get the same information
See now,
30 years ago
do you
was
use
crazy.
RPR much?
I love RPR, yeah. I use
See,
RPR.
I think RPR is a great
It's a group.
director,
Mhm.
and it's a great wraparound for a CMA that you
It
do
is.
with MLS. But it's a great place to go just to get some basic information, or
There's
actually
so
more than
much in-
basic
yeah.
information.
Basic information, 50 pages or so.
Yeah, one of their basic reports is 80 pages.
Yeah,
Like,
it's incredible how
the
much
pieces of it,
information
the
is
seller
there.
report, which I think is only like 15 or 20 pages,
Yeah.
is a great wraparound for a CMA that you do.
Yep.
Because the CMA that comes from there
No,
isn't always as strong as the CMA that you do. So, anyway, that's it. So that's what I got on prospecting.
great. Wow,
Questions for me?
not yet.
Thoughts? If you have ideas or things you want to talk about when it comes to prospecting, let's just throw them out on the table. And sometimes it's great to have an extra half a brain.
Yeah.
My extra half. I don't, not much left up there. Take as much as you want.
Oh, I don't believe that. You're so full of it.
No.
You really don't give yourself much credit at all.
Whatever half is left, you're welcome to it. Anyway. So think about that, but start to please try to find times in your day
Yeah.
that you can schedule out for prospecting. And whatever the goal is for that prospecting, learning, development, connection, whatever it
It's a
is,
lot,
start
yeah.
setting there's always something you can do to be in your business, not just letting your business pass by you. Because I know a lot of people have gotten into our business because they think now's the perfect time to get into the business because there's so much of it, and they just wait to see what's going to drop in there.
Yeah, they just won't be here though.
Yeah,
They'll be gone.
we went from 7,400 to 4,500
Right.
the last time we had a bubble. I anticipate we're going to go from 12,000 down a little bit as the market tightens up.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I do too. There will be a lot less grievance reports.
I know, there's been I don't know about here, but in New Hampshire, we have a ton of them.
Ton.
Yeah.
Audrey just led a case the other day. 5 hours.
Wow.
5 hours. It's crazy. Crazy poopy things that people are doing. Anyway, enough of that. Focus on prospecting. Thanks. Appreciate
Actually,
you guys.
that is my focus.
Which is great. Which is great. I mean,
So this was
prospecting-
perfect timing now that I'm feeling better.
Yeah, well, hopefully.